Hey, welcome back to the Gardener Rebel channel. And today we're going to be talking about something that a lot of people are going to start worrying about in the next couple of weeks: pesticides in the garden. And we're also going to do a tie-up on the trellis of a tomato plant over there. Pesticides. All right, let me go ahead and get this out there on my video right now, like I do on many of my garden videos. I am not an organic gardener. I'm not a homesteader. I grew up on a farm. I love to garden. I love fresh vegetables. However, the love for my vegetables drives me to use pesticides. Now, before everybody starts turning off the TV and screaming and hooting and hollering, let me explain why I use a commercial grade pesticide. Many years I have come down here on a very limited budget. When I first come down here and I bought my own property, and I put my heart and soul into a garden to have Japanese beetles, June bugs, white flies, cutworms come in here and destroy it. And that's gut wrenching for me. Now, before you jump on the I hate the chemical bandwagon, let me explain. I've tried every home remedy there is known to exist. You got to remember, I come from a farming community where the farms aren't this size, they're hundreds of acres. I mean, I've got YouTubers, when I say something about growing tomatoes, well, I had a guy show me how to grow them that had 3,000 tomato plants. Whoopee! I've actually walked onto farms that had 300 acres of tomato plants. Karen used to be a tomato grader on those farms. We've worked tobacco, we've worked, watermelon fields. We've done pretty much a little bit of everything, from dairy barns to tobacco drying barns to chicken farms to tomato farms. So I've been around pesticides my whole life, and I've grown accustomed to using them. However, the point I'm trying to make is I don't want to lose everything I work for. There's a lot of time, a lot of money, and not counting your man hours that you put in here and the sweat and the labor you do to build these things up, to have a couple caterpillars come in here and clean house. So I use a commercial pesticide. I do cut the recommended dose down to half. And I spot spray. What I mean by spot spray is when I see an egg or a larva on a tomato plant, I will simply walk up, raise the leaf up, look under it, make sure there's nothing on the bottom. If there is an egg on the bottom, I'll simply just spray it with a fine mist. And then I'll go on to the next tomato plant. I don't drench them, I don't soak them down. And throughout the year, I'll only be using like 3 of these on this whole spot. So that's not a bad combination when you think about the protection you're offering your plants. Now, this time of year, if you're starting to see what resembles a moth, it could be a white fly, and I'm going to show a picture of it. All right, beware of those little guys right there. They're boogers. They will absolutely eat your tomato plants up. And what they do is they'll actually draw the nutrients out of the stem of that tomato plant, and it'll wind up withering up. You'll start seeing spots on there. But before they hatch, you're going to see something like this. There's not a lot in this picture, so you got to be real close. It looks just like a white little speck, but this is just the starting of it. And this is what they look like. All right, that's why I spot spray. Once I see those little spots like that, I'll walk up here with my little sprayer, like a water gun, and I will just hit that one spot. I'm done. I don't have to drench that whole plant. I've done treated the affected area. So that's me with my pesticides. And I'm not going to say what I use. If you garden, you know what brand that is. That's just a jug though. And like I said, I cut the recommended dosage in half. I'm just there to kill the larvae. The bugs done flew off. She's done left, she's done laid her eggs, she's off to the next plant. So the thing about doing spot checks and spot spraying is I can keep ahead of the game a little bit, or if not ahead of it, at least tied. As they're laying eggs, I'm spraying. Now, if I don't spray and they lay an egg, those eggs hatch, that's more bugs laying eggs, and I'll never get caught up. So I've got to pay attention to it soon. Hey, let's move over here to the other garden spot, and I'm going to tie up a tomato plant. Bear with me. Now listen, I don't weave my tomato plants, what they call a Florida weave. That's what Okie Rob calls it. We don't never really give it a name, it's just a weave. It's really hard on the plants, in my opinion, and they are boogers to clean up at the end of garden season. These were some pieces of yarn that I actually had on the trellis last year during growing season, and I do not cut that down. Let me get you in here close. I don't never take the yarn off of the trellis because it's bad about getting wrapped up in your tiller bearing. Well, I thought I only had one. I've got two. All right, you see that the tomato plant is laid over like that? We had some wind come through last night, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with it falling like that at all, because this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to reach right through the cattle panel that I've got. Simply take a piece of yarn that I have, or string, it doesn't matter what you got, and I'm not tying it around the plant. Why would I want to choke it off? I'm actually going to bring it up here as high as I can and just snug it, and I'm going to tie it off to the fence. Make me one little spot right here. I see people all the time twisting them around the plants and pulling the plants tight. You don't really have to do that. You can even pull some of these stems right through here. There you go. If you want to weave, there's your weave. And I'll bring you around here and I'll show you exactly what I got going on. If I can get my big fingers through there. Alright, now we've got our plant pulled up. Now the thing about this is, you see where the rope's at, the yarn is right here, okay? As this plant grows, this yarn's coming up with it until it reaches that spot. And then by that time, I've already tied it off up here, up higher, and then up higher, and then up higher. So all the pressure's not down here, and it's not cutting into my plant. Simple. Go up high, come down low, and hook it right under a little vine like this, a little branch. And as that tomato plant grows up, this goes with it, and it's still holding it in place. And then once that tomato plant gets on up here, I'll be able to tie it off again. And it will not damage my plants. If you do wrap it around and you do all this crazy weaving stuff, your plant rubs on that string as it grows. When the wind blows, it's rubbing on that string. And it's rubbing on this to a certain extent, but it's not cutting in. There's nothing hanging up on it that's going to break loose and open that plant up. All right, let's do another one real quick. Okay, so now on the second one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, here's my first plant, part of the leaf. Let's just go ahead and get him running right through the square of the fence right there. You're not going to hurt nothing. Just pull your leaves right through there and that'll hold him sturdy. I'm going to take my vine, or my twine, I'm sorry. I got tomato vines on my brain. I'm going to just go ahead and tie off that section right there. Now this stuff has been on here for like 3 years. And you talk about tearing up a garden tiller bearing around the shaft. that's one of the downfalls that I just really don't like about weaving. I don't see why anybody would want to weave a tomato plant when they could simply do it like this, and it's a lot more sturdy, and it doesn't damage the plants, especially if there's a bad wind coming through. I mean, everybody I've seen do it uses like a mason string, and you know, we actually take mason string and cut PVC pipe with it. It'll actually take a tree branch down. So what do you think it's doing to a poor old tomato plant that's moving in the wind, or all of it starts drooping over it? You know, don't buy into all the hype on that kind of thing. This is a simple. These are actually recycled skylights. I'm so sorry. A friend of mine was redoing a factory, and it had a bunch of skylights in it to save on the lighting bill, and the man was going to dispose of them, and the friend of mine called me up and said, hey, do you want some? And I was like, sure, bring me some over. So I got 12 of these guys for absolutely nothing. And you can also go to the scrap yard. If you have a metal scrap yard somewhere located around your place, and excuse me while I do this, but you can look around and ask them if they ever get any fencing in or things of that nature. You don't have to buy this stuff, but if you do buy it, a kettle panel is about $16 a pop at one of the local feed stores, and it pays for itself. Now what I'm doing is there's a critter right there. I don't know if you can see him or not, but that's what's going to wind up draining your plants. And as you can tell, I'm not using a lot of poison. Very little is coming out. Just little bitty squirts. Okay. Well, we've talked about tying up tomatoes. We've talked about my idea of pesticides. And now let's take a real quick look. It's been a couple days since we've been down here and actually looked at something. All right, that's the potatoes. I don't know if you watched the last video or caught it, but the potatoes and the tomatoes on this side of the creek are doing fabulous. I think I've done found my ground for potato production. We'll see what the yield looks like. Now, I could have beautiful plants and nothing under them. That has happened before. Cucumbers are growing crazy. I'm going to have to start thinning out again. I'm going to do that this weekend. Those are over a foot tall. Some of them's already dropping, excuse me. So we have got to get over here and get a trellis started. Now, my zucchini plants are beginning to get blooms on them. They're looking good. We haven't thinned this hill out. I've got 3 plants on that hill. We're going to try it. I left 3 plants on each hill down through here. 3 plants there, 3 there. That might be 4. Is that 4? That is 4. Oh, I hate doing that. So there goes 3. My bad. I went to public schools. That's got 3. I don't know if y'all can see it outside of the shadow or not. But those, yep, got some beautiful plants. And I'm really proud of this ground this year, considering that it came from that right there to this. I'm really doing good. We've got okra that's broke the ground. And this weekend, we are actually replanting some corn and watermelons. However, they're not going over in this spot. I'm not really enthused about this spot right here with the melons. The cantaloupes are doing okay, but the melons are not going as well as I thought they would or hoped. So we're going to reestablish our area over there where the blue tarp is, in front of the muscadine vines. And we're going to put out probably several hills of watermelon and few hills of cantaloupe, a few hills of cucumber, or I'm sorry, pumpkins, and maybe a row of corn. So I would like to take this time right now to thank each and every one of you for subscribing. Again, I'm not trying to tell you how to do anything. I'm simply showing you how I do it on a budget. And I don't do a bad job. I mean, I could feed a family if I had to, and you know, I'm not really into the homesteading scene. That's just not my cup of tea, because we grew up like that on a farm, and we done without a lot of nice things and a lot of public accessible things that I take for granted now. You know, I have used an outhouse, and to me that's just not something I want to do at my age. At 47 years old, I mean, look at me, I'm old, I'm frail, I'm falling apart, and I don't think I want to do that. But anyhow, I like to take this time just to thank the subscribers who subscribe. We're up to over 400 subs. That's wonderful. That's great. I love it. It's more feedback, more comments, more ideas, more input, and that's exactly what I want you guys to comment about. If you disagree with me on something, hey, I'm not going to delete that comment. If you hit dislike, that's part of it. If I've got 100 likes and 1 dislike, well, I'm sorry, I probably stepped on somebody's toes, and that's their revenge. It doesn't bother me a bit. I'm not in this to make money. I'm in this to have fun, to meet new people, to get new ideas, exchange probably seeds later on with people, and things like that. So I'm good with it. And I enjoy the comments. I honestly do. And there are some wonderful, wonderful channels out there that have joined my group, or my channel. And I want to just thank you from the deepest part of my heart for everything that you've done as far as the comments. I really do enjoy them. But anyhow, I got to get off here, and we're going to spot spray some more tomato plants for the white flies. Again, rewind it, check those pictures out that I got of those guys up, because you're going to see them. It's that time of the year. I'm out of here. If you've not already subscribed, please do so. Leave us a comment or hit like. I'll get back in touch with you as soon as possible, and hopefully I'll see you next time at the garden spot. Y'all have a great week.